There is a type of a man that you need to be very careful with, and that's a neglectful man. Because, first of all, before I get into it, don't think that a neglectful man is the only type of man you need to be careful with. They often have traits of a lot of different type of men. So neglectful and controlling and manipulative, they often have those traits, those characteristics as well. So don't just hear neglectful and say, well, my man isn't neglectful, so I'm in the clear. No, ma'am. Listen to the whole video. And I say that about neglectful men because a neglectful man can have you questioning your own needs, your own standards, and eventually even your own sanity. And what makes this dynamic so dangerous is that he can be taking everything from you while giving you almost nothing in return. He wants your attention, your energy, your body. He wants your emotional support. He wants your loyalty. He wants your labor, your resources, your understanding, your patience. He'll gladly receive everything you have to give. But the moment you ask, okay, but what are you giving me? Suddenly you're asking for too much. You're being unappreciative. You're being argumentative, combative. And baby, that's the part I want women to wake up to, especially if you're younger than me. Maybe if you're older than me and you've been feeling like this, but now you're finally hearing it so you can break out of it because you know you're not crazy. You're not crazy. You're not crazy. A neglectful man can be extremely good at deprivation. He can deprive you of affection while still expecting access to your body. He can deprive you of emotional support while expecting you to be his therapist. He not can, he is, he will deprive you of quality time while expecting you to always be available to him. He can deprive you of appreciation while expecting you to continue doing everything you do. He can deprive you of reassurance, communication, consistency, intimacy, consideration, and then somehow convince you that your desire for those things is the problem. And that's where this starts messing with you psychologically. Psychological warfare. Because after hearing you're asking for too much enough times, you can start asking yourself, am I really asking for too much? Maybe I am too greedy. Maybe I'm expecting too much. Maybe I should be more understanding of him. Maybe I should give him more time and just put my needs on the back burner. Maybe I should stop bringing it up. And therefore, and before you know it, you're negotiating yourself down to just make the relationship tolerable. You're not asking for what you actually want anymore. You're asking for the bare minimum that you think he might finally agree to give you. And meanwhile, look at what he's receiving from you. He's receiving your emotional labor. He's receiving your care and your attention, your forgiveness, your patience, your household labor, your financial contributions. He's receiving your body, your companionship, your loyalty, your support, your energy. And let's be for real, all of those titles, all of those roles, all of those positions, he don't even have nearly enough money to hire someone to fill those positions. And I don't want to hear anyone saying it's not always about money. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It needs to always be about money because he needs to know that he's falling short. 9 times out of 10, the man you're dealing with falls short. He can't hire all those people for those positions. And even if he could, he's not going to because they don't like therapy, because they don't like people getting in their heads. But they like to get in yours though. So he's still falling short. And it is always about money. He can be completely comfortable receiving all of that while you're still sitting there starving for the basic things that make a relationship feel reciprocal. Maybe that's how he felt with his parents. He needed all of that from his parents, and they got all of that from him, but he got none of it. So now he want to pay you back for that. No, ma'am. You better go pay your parents back. And that's what I'm trying to get ladies to understand. Neglect can make you feel deprived while simultaneously making someone else completely comfortable. Because as long as you're still giving, he has very little incentive to change. And some men will even weaponize your generosity. They know you're loving, they know you're patient, they know you're going to give them another chance. They know you're going to explain yourself again. They know you're going to try harder. So they keep taking. And when you finally say, I need more from you, they don't necessarily hear, I'm communicating a legitimate need. They hear, the woman who has been giving me everything is finally asking me to give something back. And then suddenly you're difficult, you're ungrateful, you're too emotional, you're too demanding, you're never satisfied. But let's be honest, if a woman has to beg you for consideration, affection, effort, communication, or basic reciprocity, the problem isn't that she suddenly became demanding. The problem is that she's been surviving on crumbs for so long that she's finally realized she's hungry. And that kind of relationship can seriously distort your perception of what you deserve. You can become so accustomed to deprivation that receiving basic care feels like a luxury. And that's where manipulative men come in at, because they know I'm gonna deprive her of this for a long time. So when I finally do it, I can throw it up in her face. You can become grateful for things that should have been normal. One good date makes you forget about 3 months of neglect. No, ma'am. One affectionate conversation makes you question whether the rest of the relationship was really that bad. It was. One thoughtful gesture has you thinking, see, he does care. No, he don't want you to leave. Breadcrumb. And then you're right back into the cycle. That's why you have to pay attention to patterns, not isolated moments. Because a man being capable of treating you well doesn't mean he's consistently willing to. And I don't want women measuring a man's potential by the occasional glimpse of the person you wish he would become. Look at the relationship you're actually living in, because you cannot build a healthy relationship off of what somebody else gives you occasionally. You need consistency, you need reciprocity, you need consideration, you need to feel cared for, not just useful. And most importantly, you need to stop allowing somebody to convince you that having needs makes you needy. Wanting love doesn't make you needy. Wanting affection that you're giving doesn't make you needy. Wanting communication doesn't make you needy. Wanting effort doesn't make you needy. Wanting a partner who contributes instead of constantly consuming you does not make you needy. You are allowed to want a relationship that pours into you, just like he wants that. So, ladies, please pay attention to how you feel around that man. Do you feel nourished and full, or do you constantly feel depleted? Do you feel cared for, or do you constantly feel like you're auditioning for basic consideration? Do you feel like a partner, or do you feel like a resource? Because sometimes the clearest sign that you're being neglected isn't that he's doing absolutely nothing. It's that he's doing just enough to keep you where to keep you there while you're doing everything to keep the relationship alive. And you cannot keep pouring into somebody who is perfectly comfortable watching your cup stay empty. Stop letting these men convince you that your needs are too much simply because they are unwilling to meet them. They're lazy as You don't need to shrink your needs. You need to get honest about whether the person you're giving so much to is actually capable and willing to pour back into you. Because love should not require you to slowly disappear, to slowly forget yourself, to slowly just feel useless. This is Pretty Girl Rich era, where we heal, level up, and become the best version of ourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, loves.